Welcome back, folks, to WrestleRant. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and right here on WrestleRant, I break down all the pay-per-views that I watch on the WWE Network. And continuing along with our King of the Ring reviews, today we're talking about King of the Ring 2000. So for a year overall, that was a lot of freaking fun. WrestleMania was pretty disappointing, but by and large, with Triple H and Rock on top, Benoit, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, and everything else that went on that year, including a very fun, fully loaded card, which I talked about a few weeks ago, this was not a good show at all. Easily one of, if not the worst pay-per-view event that I've seen from the year 2000 on the network. This show sucked. And when I say it was bad, it was probably even worse than WrestleMania. At least WrestleMania had a few matches worth watching for. Even the main event on this show, which was good, was not really that good in comparison to other matches that took place in the year of 2000 for WWE. But nevertheless, we pretty much had the entire King of the Ring tournament on this show. We had first round matches, we had second round matches. But unlike in past years, we had the quarterfinal matches on this show. So we had a quarterfinal match kicking off the show between the Intercontinental Champion Rikishi and Chris Benoit. Benoit getting himself intentionally disqualified, attacking Rikishi after the match, hitting him with a steel chair. Rikishi advances, and that was because Rikishi beat Benoit for the IC Championship on the SmackDown prior to the show. So I could see in storyline why that happened. Wouldn't you think, even though he's pissed at Rikishi, he would want to advance in the King of the Ring finals, like to the semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament, as opposed to getting himself DQ'd, which wouldn't win him back the Intercontinental Championship. That to me seemed a bit silly. I could see why they booked it the way they did to build sympathy for Rikishi, and he got attacked after his next match too, which I'll talk about in a second, but seemed a bit ass backwards to me. But the match was nothing of note because it was only 4 minutes long anyway. After that, our second quarterfinal match, Venis defeating Eddie Guerrero. A bit longer, but still not really that good. Venis was just not really that good of a worker. Eddie Guerrero obviously should have gone further in the tournament than he did, but he didn't. Venis advanced for whatever reason. Crash Holly beating Bull Buchanan. And then, Buchanan, is that how you pronounce it? I never really know. But anyway, the next quarterfinal matchup saw Holly beat Bull, and he advanced. Again, really nothing of note. I don't know why Crash Holly made it that far in the finals in the King of the Ring tournament to begin with, but oh well. So after the match went all of like 4 minutes. And that was pretty much a common theme throughout the show. That the matches on this show, very few of them, if only of the 11 matches that took place on this show, only 2 of them exceeded 10 minutes on a pay-per-view. On a 3-hour pay-per-view, only 2 matches exceeded 10 minutes, and none of them exceeded 20. Interpret that as you will. So after that, we had our next quarterfinal matchup, our final quarterfinal matchup. Kurt Angle beating Chris Jericho. Easily the best quarterfinal match of the show. Obviously, that goes without saying. Good chemistry, but even then, it just didn't really seem like it was all that it could have been. Kind of disappointing. But still, Kurt Angle went over. Good match. Great match in comparison to the other shit that we got in the show, but still not as truly epic as it could have been. Edge and Christian winning back the tag team titles in our next match against Too Cool, the former champions, the Hardy Boys, and TNA in a fatal 4-way 4 corners elimination match for the tag team titles. A fun little match. I think the Hardy Boys and TNA were just kind of unnecessary. They really didn't serve much of a purpose. It was just kind of getting more bodies in the ring, I guess, and getting Lita and Trish out there. But still, it was a fun match. I enjoyed it for what it was. Just really wasn't anything too much of note. But when it came down to Too Cool and Edge and Christian, that's when the pace picked up a bit. Edge and Christian regaining the gold, pretty much dominating the tag team scene throughout the year of 2000. So, fun match. The stipulation wasn't really that necessary, having the Hardy Boys and TNA in there, but still, fun match for what it was. Rikishi beating Venis in the semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament. Venis would beat up Rikishi afterwards, setting the stage of their steel cage match at Fully Loaded the following month. But not that really good of a match. The match was over in 3 minutes. Very disappointing. I didn't really expect much going into it, but it was what it was. Kurt Angle obviously squashing Crash Holly in our next matchup, which went even longer than the previous match, which was surprising, but Angle squashing Holly to advance to the finals. After that, we had Pat Patterson taking on Gerald Briscoe in one of, again, if not the worst single match of the year of 2000, in what was a hardcore evening gown match for the Hardcore Championship. Just awful shit. It was funny to an extent, but a complete waste of pay-per-view time. No one gave a shit about this. The crowd shat all over it. It was an awful match. I give both these guys props for dedicating themselves to their respective roles, but the whole angle, the whole feud was really just a complete and utter waste of time. Thankful the crowd pop when Crash Holly came in, pinned Pat Patterson to win the Hardcore Championships. That was pretty cool. But Crash Holly became the new Hardcore Champion. At least it ended on a high note, and it didn't really end with this. This match, this train wreck of a match, went 3 minutes too long, and that it was it was 3 minutes long, but it went way longer than it needed to. And by that, I mean it did not need to happen at all. So at least they had a happy ending with Crash Holly winning the championship, but the match itself was a total waste of fucking time. After that, we had a handicap tables dumpster match with D-Generation X members Road Dogg, X-Pac, and Tori taking on the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray, and Devon. Fun little match. I like the story they were trying to tell here with Bubba Ray trying to go after Tori, trying to put her through the table. Hey, she ain't wood, she ain't wood, she ain't wood, as JR would say on the commentary. So I enjoyed the stipulation. It was unique. It was something different. Really not that great of a match, but it was still fun for what it was. Road Dogg and X-Pac got put through tables, up next with Tori, but before they could put her through a table, Road Dogg and X-Pac, they got back to their feet, and they put them through the dumpster. They put the Dudley Boys in the dumpster to score the victory. They won, but in the end, it was the Dudley Boys taking out Road Dogg and then X-Pac, and then putting Tori through a table. And Bubba Ray, the priceless expression on his face, told the entire story. So good shit there. It didn't really matter that DX won. They broke up only a few months after this anyway, so I don't really see why they needed to win here, but still fun for what it was. They appreciated the story. You would never see anything like this today. Not to say that we need to see something like this today, but just fun for what it was, I guess is the best way to describe it. And then in the King of the Ring finals, Kurt Angle beating Rikishi in a 5-minute match. Total disappointment. The match sucked. Kurt Angle was the right winner, though. The winner of the tournament was very obvious, obviously, once Eddie and Benoit were taken out of it, but still, a very disappointing tournament. One of the most disappointing tournaments of the entire pay-per-view lineage. Again, Angle winning was the right move, but the rest of the tournament left a lot to be desired. And then we get to the main event, a 6-man tag team match pitting The Rock and the Brothers of Destruction against the WWE Champion Triple H, Vince McMahon, and Shane McMahon with Stephanie in their corner. With the WWE Championship on the line, whoever got the winning fall would become the WWE Champion. In the end, it was The Rock pinning Vince to become the new champ. Again, pretty standard, solid main event. Got a lot of time at almost 18 minutes. I mean, a lot of time compared to the other matches. Still, a pretty good match. I enjoyed it for what it was. A lot better than anything else on the show. So at least it ended the show on a high note, continuing the feud between Rock and Triple H, without Rock having to pin Triple H, setting up their Fully Loaded. Or actually did not set up a rematch at Fully Loaded. It was Rock and Benoit, as I talked about before, and then Jericho and Triple H. But anyway, a good match, not great match, but still a lot better than everything else on this show, which was complete shit. The show sucked. So the King of the Ring tournament, the quarterfinals, the finals, the semifinals, it had the right winner, obviously, but very predictable, and none of the matches stood out in any good way. I mean, Angle and Jericho was good, but other than that, it was pretty ho-hum show, a very deplorable tournament. And the rest of the show left a lot to be desired. The tag team title match was fun. The tag team handicap tables dumpster match was all right. And the Patterson and Briscoe stuff was enough to bring this show down 3 notches. So not a very good show, not a good show at all. So I would, strongly recommend against. I would advise against watching the show in its entirety. If anything, watch the main event or the tag team title match. But even those matches aren't really must-see. There's a lot better matches from the year of 2000 in WWE. So overall, thumbs down to Raspberries for a deplorable show, King of the Ring 2000. Check it out at your leisure, but I would, again, advise against it on the WWE Network. So that is my review of the King of the Ring 2000 pay-per-view. I'll be back in my next video to talk about King of the Ring 2000. But until then, you guys can catch me on the Twitter at WrestleRant, on Facebook at facebook.com/Graham.gsm.Matthews, and right here on YouTube by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. So until next time, guys, I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.